Hello everyone, Travis here, and today we're going to show you how to put the seals back in your Porsche 944 power steering rack. Here we have a 944 power steering rack completely taken apart. Let's start with the shaft seals. As you can see, we have 4 shaft seals here, 2 of which are the same size, and we have 2 shaft seal backings. Let's start with the one shaft seal backing that has a beveled edge. The other shaft seal backing is flat. We're going to take the shuttle piece and put the shaft seal backing in so that the beveled edge faces down. And one of these seals that are the same size, we're going to place it in the shuttle like this with the lip side facing up. Now you're going to press this seal in using a socket that fits around the edge of this seal, and it's going to go in so it's actually just a little bit lower than this housing right here. And how you're going to tell that it's all the way in is you reach your finger down the middle and you grab this seal backing, and if it moves up and down, it's not in all the way. The seal backing should be pressed firmly down by the seal, and that's the way you know that it's completely seated. Now let's take the other seal backing and seal. Now this one is flat. It's just like a flat nylon washer, and it gives the seal a place to sit. Now this one goes in the bottom of this long rack tube, all the way down there. And first, the seal backing goes in, drop it down there, and reach in from the other side, and take the seal backing, and it's going to sit in a little recess, all the way at the bottom. Now the seal. It's very important that the seal sits just like this, so the lip side is facing up. Now you drop it all the way down there, it spins around, you have no idea where it's at. You get it centered, get a little flashlight, look down there, make sure it's sitting right. Again, very important. If you have it backwards, it's gonna leak. Get it so it's sitting correctly. Get your same socket you used to press the other seal in, couple extensions, slide them down the tube, tap them in place, reach in here, feel the seal backing. If the little seal backing goes up and down and moves, it's not pressed in all the way. Keep tapping. If it doesn't move and the seal is pressing it all the way down in its recess, it's correct. Well, let's go ahead and take this largest shaft seal. This large shaft seal does not have a seal backing. It's got a machined recess, so it sits flat in here, and it goes in the bottom of the aluminum housing with the lip side facing up, just like this. Now, you're going to put it in there, get a socket that fits just around the edge of this, and you're going to tap it in place, and again, this seal is going to sit just lower than the lip of that housing. So it's going to be just recessed in there. It's going to go down to the bottom and stop. Now we have the smallest shaft seal, the top plate. It goes in just like that. Tap it in place, the lip side facing this way, and it seats all the way down against a machined recess. It'll tap in until it stops. Now let's move on to the Teflon rings for the pinion unit. Here you have this. You have 4 Teflon rings and 4 ring backup O-rings. You're first going to put all the O-rings on the slots, just like this. And then take your Teflon rings, I'm working from this side, put them in the second recess, wrap it around, second recess, wrap it around, and then in its little home. Slide it in place. Now we have a smaller Teflon ring with a smaller O-ring backup, and it goes in this little plate right here. It's got a recess in the middle. O-ring backup goes on first, like that. Teflon ring goes in, pops in place, and there you go. Now we have this big O-ring right here, thick O-ring, the shuttle piece, plastic washer goes on. It came off of your rack, it's not included in the kit. And the O-ring goes on just like that. Larger O-ring, back to the cap. It goes right here in the recess, just like that. Medium size O-ring. If you look in here, there's a little recess cut for this O-ring to sit. This O-ring seals the tube to the aluminum housing. It's very important that you get it in its groove all the way. Seated completely. And that stays in place when you push your tube in. These two O-rings right here, they actually slide down this shaft and they sit right next to each other, right in that groove. I'm not going to put these on right now because before you put these on, the snap ring has to slide down and go on first. This end plate has to slide down and go next to the snap ring. Then you put these two on, and then this piece goes down and it sits on top of the two O-rings. Right here, other plate, other snap ring. Just how you took it apart. We have these two little guys right here. These actually fit onto the breather tube fittings. Just like that. They don't hold any fluid. They're just there to keep the breather tube fittings in place. Very simple. Put them on like that. These little guys, you have 8 of them. And they actually go on each side of these banjo connections for the hard lines that run back and forth on the rack. One on that side, one on that side. Don't lose them when you're putting the rack back together, it'll leak. Little cap, last piece you put on, goes just like that. Now, I know some of you will have some questions on the pinion unit, how the bearings stack up, so let me just stack these up and give you a couple hints on putting this back together. This is the bare pinion unit, no bearings whatsoever. This is the bottom, and on the bottom you have 2 plates and a roller bearing. You have a thin plate, a thick plate, and the roller bearing goes in between them. The thin plate goes on first. The roller bearing drops on after that. And this thicker plate actually sits down inside the aluminum housing, and it sits just like this, so the taper is facing up. See, there's a taper right on that edge that faces up. Now this will sit down in its recess when you go to put it together, but sometimes you'll have a problem when you flip this upside down. That'll happen, and these plate and the bearing have to sit on that little hat right there. So what I usually do is take a fingerful of grease and just grease them so they stick like that, and when you put it in together, they make sure they sit where they're supposed to be. because if they fall down, the roller bearing could land like this. And when you tighten everything up, it crushes it. It has to sit just like that, and everything stacks up to a very exact height. Now on top of this, you have a little ball bearing which drops in place just like that. Have a ball bearing race, which drops right over the top of that. And then your final plate. It sits just like that, and this stacks up inside the aluminum housing just like that.